What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give a quick rundown of the components that I purchased to build my build. This won't be an unboxing or a build video. Hopefully those are gonna come in the near future, because I already have my system built and I started to upload videos after that. I had a request. Somebody had asked me to kind of show what system I have, what system I'm running. So let's dive right into it. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the case. Now this is an MSI case. It's an ATX, so it's a regular or like a standard size. It's not the smaller mini cases. I prefer the standard sizes simply because they're easier to work with and they allow more airflow depending on the design. And this was on sale, so this was got a pretty good deal on this. So moving on the side here, we'll see a bit of the specs here. So it is the 111M. You see the dimensions and the input output ports that it has, the front. So this is all in the front here with the HD mic. Drive bays is pretty cool because you have two 2.5 and two 3.5 with one that's a combo tray, so you can fit either an SSD or a regular HDD. Power supply is standard, of course, and then we have the VGI to your graphic card support. You want to make sure that depending on what you're going to get, it's going to fit in your case. In my case, it did. And the cooling, another cool feature about this is, speaking of cooling, is it comes with, I like the cases that come with pre-added fans, so pre-installed fans. And as you can see here, this was cool because I got 3 fans, 120 millimeter, 3 of them, the RGB in the front. And then you had one at the back, one at the rear, which was, so they're all 120 mm. And this was a non-RGB. It's a non-RGB, but I mean, it does the trick. And if you wanted to add a radiator, you could do that as well here at the front or the top. It shows you the dimensions. And it's fragile, of course, because the side panel is glass. It's all glass. So here's the side panel for the case. And as you can see here, this is all glass, and I almost dropped it. That wouldn't have been fun. And I usually leave my system, I leave the side panel off simply because I'm always benchmarking and testing different graphic cards and whatnot. And that's why I leave the side panel uninstalled. So that's as far as the case goes. So the motherboard is an MSI. It's the MSI Mag X570, the Tomahawk Wi-Fi. I got this one. It has 2 M.2 bays, both of them with their coolers. It had great reviews, and MSI really did big with this motherboard. And of course it has Wi-Fi. I wanted something that that had Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And expansion slots, you can see that here. It has the GPU up there, and you can add a PCI Express down here. It has the 2 M.2. You have your RAM bays over there, the RAM slots, and I believe it goes up to 64 gigs of RAM. Not that I'm ever going to be using that much, but another key selling point here, or key feature to mention here, is the MSI case that I bought has a USB Type-C connector at the front. Now notice this has the port for it. I had originally bought the Asus Tough Gaming, but it did not have the USB Type-C port on the motherboard. So it kind of was useless or pointless to me because my case has the USB Type-C at the front. Other than that, and it has the Mystic Light, so you can control the lighting. The RGB, MSI's Mystic Light is their version of the Gigabyte's Aorus. So these days everybody has their own versions of the lighting, you know, just to kind of make it look cool and fancy. And the other thing is that this motherboard actually has a pre-installed I/O shield, so for the input output at the back, which I'll show in the case, which I found was pretty cool. Now, as far as the CPU, I went with the Ryzen 5 3600X. I had initially wanted the 5600X, the new 5th gen, or 5th series, but honestly this was the biggest bang for the buck. It was on sale again, and I got a pretty good deal on it. But aside from that, the 3600X would pretty much is gonna do everything that it needed to do, from productivity to gaming and whatnot. And it's a 6-core 12-thread, as you can see here. Speaking of the Ryzen 5 3600, it runs pretty cool, so you don't have to get a fancy cooler or anything. However, with my build, I didn't go with the stock cooler that's in here. I went with a 212 Evo. This is a cooler that I got. So this is the black edition. It's the RGB. It's the Hyper 212. So it has a heatsink here. It has a fan, one fan. You can add an additional fan on the other side if you wanted to. I just left it as it is, and of course it has the RGB. That is as far as the cooler and the CPU. So as far as storage, I got the Samsung 970 Evo Plus, the 1 TB as my main storage. It's the NVMe M.2. It's the PCI Express. So this is, of course, in terms of speeds and the performance and the overall build, I prefer the Samsung brand hard drives. I mean, there's the Western Digital Black Edition too, which are also very, very high quality. But I think Samsung is the top of the line in terms of this. So this is what I have for my main storage. So in terms of RAM, I got the Crosshair DDR4. I got 2 sticks at 3200 megahertz. It's the Vengeance LPX. That's what I got in terms of RAM. I could have gotten the frequency higher, 3600 or even 4000, because of course the AMD Ryzen 5, the 5 and the 7, AMD in general supports higher frequency in comparison to the Intel. But I think 3200, I think for me was more than enough for what I'm doing now. So this is the RAM that I'm running. The power supply I got is the Gigabyte P750GM. So it is a 750 watt, because I knew I'd be running graphic cards. As you'll see from my other videos, I initially started off with the 5700 XT. So I knew that I had to get a little bit of a higher end or stronger power supply if I wanted to run future cards. This is the 80 Plus Gold, and it is fully modular, so you can actually add or remove the cables that you want and don't want. So I find that pretty cool, so you don't have to deal with a lot of cable management. Although it does come with the zip ties and wire ties and whatnot. So this is the Gigabyte 80 Plus Gold 750 watt power supply that I'm running. And of course, last but definitely not least, probably the most important component if you're going to be gaming, the graphics card that I currently have in my build right now is the RTX 3070 made by EVGA for the Win 3 Ultra. Now that definitely is a mouthful, but this is, I think in my opinion, one of the top tier graphic cards. EVGA does an excellent job in terms of their build quality, their warranty services, and of course they add a little bit of RGB on the cards. And this is what I'm currently running right now. It is the 8 gig. Does have the RTX, which means it has the ray tracing and the DLSS, and I'll make a separate video dedicated to this card itself, but this is the graphic card that I'm currently running. And when everything is done and built, this is the system itself. So this is a case, those are the 3 RGB fans at the front, and then this is the 212 Evo, the black edition RGB cooler. Got my RAM sitting right there. There it is. Okay, and then we got our 3070 right here, and you can see the little bit of the power supply there, the Gigabyte 750. And moving on to the front here, the top, we have a power button, the reset button, and then we have the USB Type-C. This is what I was referring to when I had said that the Asus TUF X570 I got did not. The motherboard did not have this port, this connector. So therefore I went with the MSI. And of course it had enough RGB headers and the fan headers. And then you got your USB, your two USB right there. You have your mic and audio. And then you have your RGB light switch, which is right over here. It's pretty cool because it has, so it has the MSI logo, a little faint right there, the dragon. But as you can see, like the front grille is all open here, so which allows for much more airflow. So your system components of the system itself won't heat up. Over here you have this mesh at the top, so it can kind of collect the dust. You clean that off every so often. And so I can, if I wanted to, put a radiator at the front here, or you can mount it at the top over here. So it has enough space here at the top for the radiator. But I don't really need it right now, so I'm not concerned about that. And moving on to the other side. So you have your grommets right here. They're pretty cool for better cable management. And then this is the mount for the 212 Evo cooler right there. And you'll see I have the other Samsung, the SSD I have mounted over here. So you'll see that right there. And I have a regular hard drive down there. Actually, this is the 4 TB hard drive. And this is the Samsung, not the Lexar. I had mentioned earlier I had the two additional ones. So I actually have a Samsung. This is the 870 Evo, 1 TB. And then I have the 4 TB regular hard drive, which is buried behind the wires here. But there's a hard drive bay, it has a couple of bays. And what you would do is clip, or you would pull these, push these together for the bay. And the hard drive slides out, as you can see here. So we'll just slide it back in. There we go. And here's all the wire connectors and whatnot, and we'll do that in a separate video. And these wires are also tied down over here. This actually came pre-built like that, with the wires tied down. And moving on to the back here, we'll see. So this is the pre-installed I/O shield that I was referring to. So normally when you buy the motherboard, you'll have this shield, or the back panel that you would have to install. Line it up, click it in place, and then install the motherboard to it. But this was already pre-installed, which is pretty cool. And then if you want to flash the BIOS, update the BIOS, you have a little button right there. Let me just focus that. There you go, flash BIOS button. And you got your PS2 serial port, keyboard and mouse. You got a couple of USBs at the top here. You have HDMI here, so the built-in video. And then you have a couple of USBs down here. And then right here you have, where is it? There we are, it's gonna focus there, USB Type-C. 3 more USBs here, and then you have some audio jacks here. So you have your SPDIF out, and you have your mic, and then your speaker or headphone, and your Ethernet right there. And here's my graphic card sitting there. The back fan here, so it's a non-RGB, but again, doesn't bother me. Here's your antennas, so it has the dual antennas. The Wi-Fi signal is pretty strong. It's actually very strong. I'm upstairs, and my modem router is downstairs, and I get pretty good signal strength here. Yeah, that's the back of the case there. And as you notice, the components and the case and the motherboard and the back, everything kind of blends in very well. It's all black, like a hint of gray or silver, but primarily it's a nice, everything has like a nice metallic black finish to it. That's another reason why I got the 212 Evo, the black edition, just so it would kind of blend. It would blend very well with the case, the design of the case, and the design of my build here. So there's the build completed. I mean, as it's been for about a couple of months now. So let's turn this thing on and see what it looks like. So there we have it. So you got the Mystic light in the background over here on the motherboard. in the back right there, and then you got the 212 Evo, the RGB, and then you have the 3 RGB fans in the front, and of course you have the GeForce, the RTX 3070 with the rainbow light. If I cut the lights out, this is what it would look like in the dark. So in a dark room, this is what you're looking at. Pretty cool with the RGB. I could have gotten the RGB RAM as well, but I don't know. I think it's okay as it is. I don't, you know, a bit of RGB doesn't hurt, but I didn't want to overkill it. And this is the front panel right here. Now you can set the lighting to like a heartbeat or like an electrical, or you have many different settings in the motherboard. It's the Red Dragon app, I think is what it is, for MSI, so you can really control the lighting to what you wanted, even if you open certain apps, and if the apps are darker, have a dark theme or a light theme, then you'll see that the motherboard light, which is right there, and also the Evo, so the RGB fan over here, and the front panel you customize the way the lights interact. But I mean, you know, that's to each their own. I just prefer this rainbow color. I think it looks pretty cool because it does complement the RTX 3070, which has a rainbow loop over there. So that is the PC, and that's what it looks like. And that wraps it up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more great content. And as always, be well, stay safe, and peace.